everybody, it's Holly here today, and today we're going to be using the Newton Dreams of Paris stamp set and the Land Borders die duo set. I'm going to use the hilly part there, the hilly die, I guess you'd say. So I'm going to start out by stamping the images onto a piece of Copic Express It blending cardstock, and I'm using some Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink and the Mini Misty, and this is a really good ink for Copic coloring. Usually you can just need to stamp once to get a good impression, but these stamps are new and I've never used them before, so they need a little bit of conditioning. So I am using the Mini Misty to make sure I can stamp twice and get a nice dark impression. So once I've got all the images stamped, I'm going to go ahead and start coloring them with my Copics. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of music, and then I'll be back after we're done coloring to finish making the card. ahead and start on the background. So I've gone ahead and used a stitch rectangle die to die cut a piece of distressed watercolor paper. And I'm going to be using some tumbled glass and salty ocean distress inks. And I'm just smooshing it onto my craft mat, and then I'm spritzing it with some water and picking up a piece of acetate. And then I'm taking the acetate to the cardstock and smushing the ink into the cardstock. And then I'm drying it in between each layer with my heat tool, just to make sure I'm getting a nice solid color, because sometimes if you try to put distress ink on top of it, when it's wet, the colors kind of all seem to fade and you lose that intensity you might want. So I start out with the tumbled glass, and then I go back in with the salty ocean. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on another piece of the distress cardstock cut with the same rectangle die, and I'm going to be using some mowed lawn and shabby shutters. And I use the shabby shutters first just to give a light green in the background, and then I go ahead and use the mowed lawn second. And I'm also, when each panel is dry, I also go ahead and spritz it with some water, and then I use a paper towel to pick up some of that color to give that distressed look to the background, where it lifts the color off. So here's where I start using the green, and I'm just doing this on the lower half of a piece of distress ink because I know I'm only going to need a small portion of it. And you can always save what part you didn't use later on for another project. So once that's all dry, then I'm going to go ahead and start applying the images to the background. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble the background, I should say. So the background piece with the blue, it was the full rectangle size, and then I used the stitched hillside border here to go ahead and die cut my hill. And then I'm going to apply just the bottom part over the background part that I created with the blue distress ink. Kind of pop it up a little bit with some foam adhesive. So I just attached it there to the bottom with a little bit of foam adhesive, and then I'm going to go ahead and start applying the images. I like to have the foam along the bottom part of where the hill is supposed to be. That way you can tuck your images in the back, and then it helps make it look a little bit more dimensional. Sometimes if you put your grass down or your land down flat against the sky, it kind of makes it one-dimensional, and it just doesn't help your images pop very well. So I'm going to use some Ranger Multimedia Matte and then some foam tape to adhere all the images. Once I have all the images in position where I want them to be, I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of black licorice cardstock, and I'm going to be using a scalloped rectangle die. The scalloped rectangle die that I use and the little stitched rectangle die both coordinate with each other. I believe they're from Mama Elephant. So I'm going to use those together and die cut that piece of black cardstock for the scallop edge. And then I'm going to create a top folding A2 size white card base. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach my image panel to the black scallop piece using my ATG gun. This was a watercolored piece, so you want to make sure you apply lots of adhesive to the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply that panel to the top of my A2 size card base. And then add a little bit of the clear Wink Estella. And that pretty much finishes up my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.